3,
Yep.
2, 1. All right, hit it.
This is a Flying Llama Studios production. Visit flyinglamastudios.net for more information. This
You see, that's what happens when... you rejig everything on your console and you can't remember what's what or where it goes and everything's mislabeled.
Like the title of the show.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, hello everyone, welcome to the show. This is Babblefish. My name's Daniel Roth, and as always, that is the thing that steals all your odd socks and hides them behind the sofa. It's Mr. Mark Wilson.
I don't.
Yeah, you do.
I really don't.
Well, I mean, everyone's got to have a hobby, I suppose.
So, if you're stealing odd socks, does that mean they're odd to start with? Oh dear.
You're a bit loud on the thing, that's all. I just needed to...
Sorry.
Yeah, I just needed to adjust that slightly. Anyway, how are you? How's things? How's life?
Same as it's been for X amount of time. Lockdown, isn't it? So
working.
Yeah, looking out the window, staring at the storms.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm pretty lucky. The last couple of days, or actually, it was just today. Actually, it stopped raining long enough for me to get out into the garden and actually do some work on the. Because there's been this back garden door we've had, and it's kind of like Ahab and the whale with me. It's like I've been struggling with this thing for months now, because whenever I paint it, it always rains, and then because it's always raining, it's a wooden door, and even though we varnished it and sealed it and everything else, it's like the door frame sort of expands and contracts, and it's like the door is always catching and everything else, and it just seems like, so it's just kind of like Ahab and the whale, It's like this ongoing saga of me trying to get this stupid door working. And, well, I think I finally managed it today, so that's good. The rain managed to hold off long enough for me to actually get out there and fix this thing. And it opens properly, and it closes properly, and it locks, and I...
Nice.
Yeah. I did a proper little fist bump as well at the end of it. I was feeling quite pleased with myself, I'll be honest.
You didn't jump up in the air and do that.
Yeah.
Fist bump and the click, yeah.
Yeah, it was...
Slow motion.
Yep.
Did it!
Yeah, it was honestly it was awful. I mean, I had to sand everything down with a power sander, and then I ran out of sanding pads, and I had to buy some more off Amazon or whatever, and then they took forever to arrive, and it's the frame was completely rotten, so I had to repair parts of the door frame to actually screw the door in properly, the door hinges in properly, and then I had to sand everything down and varnish it and seal it and paint it and then paint it again, and then it was a proper mission, but yeah,
fun.
Yeah, I mean, it was just anyway I can move on now. That's the main thing.
Yes, move on to what you're going to repair next.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, because well, before we get into all that, I suppose really we should say hi everyone, this is Babblefish. We're an entertainment show. We focus on technology, TV, movies, games, that sort of thing. And this week we're going to be talking about the movie that I think you picked, actually.
Yes.
A movie by the Hotel Artemis, I think it was called.
Yes, that's right.
Which was alright. I mean, I kind of considered it sort of budget John Wick, if I'm honest. It wasn't bad. It was just, I think they took a lot of inspiration from John Wick. But we'll talk about that a bit later.
Yeah.
trying to think if there's any other news to really kind of talk about. Oh yeah, we started doing a new show on YouTube yesterday, which seemed to go down quite well. Which
Yesterday, no,
Tuesday. Sorry, yeah. Like I said, it's been a long day for me. I'm really, really tired. I don't know what it is about this sort of the last week or so, but I've really been struggling to sleep, and I think I'm running on 3 hours sleep. So yeah, excuse me if I'm a little out of sorts tonight, but I'm here anyway because the masochist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, I mean, so the door's all done now, and all I have to do is do some painting in the back garden. I want to varnish all the fence panels along the side of the garden and paint the shed and a few other bits and bobs before the new owners move in. Most people would be like, why are you bothering? You've sold the place. Why are you going around doing all this stuff? They can do it. It's like, I don't know. I just kind of feel,
you want to leave it
in a good condition. I just think it's important to be.
Either way, it'll be in a better condition than you found it.
Yeah, that's true. I'll never forget the condition the place was in when we first moved in. It was like it was awful. Yeah, it was in a really bad state. But yeah, no, it's we've done an awful lot of work to the place. But I just want to sort of tidy up a few last things really before the new owners move in, which would be
Is there any news on that progressing?
No, it's still taking forever. It just seems like we're forever chasing the solicitor now. I mean, we've got like a solicitor, and it's like we're forever chasing him with a stick. It's like you're forever chasing people
around your back garden.
Yeah, it's just like hurry up. It's it's a bit like that at the moment, but yeah, no, we're making progress. So
mortgage, that's the news.
Huh?
Our buyers have mortgage, that's the news.
Oh, okay, cool.
Was it?
Yeah, so our buyers also have the mortgage. So yeah, so that was done. Sorry, I thought we mentioned that, didn't we? No, okay, apparently not. So there we go. So it looks like we're all moving now, which should be good. So it might take a couple more months, but we'll get there eventually. But yeah, as I was trying to say before, I lost track. I was speaking to like a friend in America, and apparently they, when it comes to house buying and so on and so forth, they can do it in like 30 days or a month.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Whereas over here, it seems to take like 3 months at a minimum, 3-4 months. And by the time we actually get everything sorted, it'll probably be more like 4 months, actually. Well, it's kind of ridiculous. It doesn't need to take this long. It really doesn't. It just seems like there's something fundamentally wrong with
the way that we do things.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
That's true for a lot of things in this country.
Well, anyway, so there we go. Yeah, so that's it, really, news-wise. I think that pretty much sums it up. I don't
Personal
know.
news.
Personal news, yeah. Yeah, it's been an interesting old week, actually, looking at the news. It's Stephen's managed to find us a few bits and pieces that might be interesting. So, yeah, do you want to start us off?
I don't know where we want to start, do we?
I don't know, let's top of the list and work our way down, I suppose. We got like an hour.
What have we got? Oh, yeah. News to probably not many people, because it's probably quite expected. It sounds as if Black Widow is going to be delayed yet again. Right,
this is another Marvel thing, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's the Scarlett Johansson solo Black Widow movie that should have come out almost a year ago now, I think.
Why is it taking them so long? Is it just all that? I just blame it on COVID or whatever.
Yeah. Disney are hell-bent on releasing it in the cinema. Or movie theaters. They are adamant that they are not going to put it onto Disney Plus
or anything like that. Do they just think they're going to make more money from cinema release? Is that? I mean, I can't imagine any other reason for it. I mean, it always, these things always seem to come down to money.
Yeah, because it would have last year. It would have been their big tentpole Marvel movie. Their big blockbuster Marvel movie. So yeah, that's why they wanted it in the cinemas then. And of course, this year, they want to do the same, make it a massive launch.
Yeah, I don't know. I do wonder what cinemas are going to be like when all this is over. I wonder if... I mean, they'll try, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's looking more and more like you only go to the cinema for things that aren't going to be released.
But that's it. I mean, I can't imagine that's going to be sustainable for cinemas, really, because, they need people coming in all the time to pay their rent and their staff and expenses and so on, overheads, costs. And if they can only really open maybe 4 or 5 times a year for like these major blockbuster releases.
Oh yeah, it'll decimate the movie theaters or cinema chains. It already is, I think. There's a few that probably won't open ever again now. So
yeah, I mean, the prospect of people being able to fill up theatres is not exactly promising at the moment. If spring does not pan out the way that people anticipated when the vaccine was announced, blah, blah, blah. So basically, yeah, they are saying that they will release it when the cinemas can open, and when the cinemas open is obviously dependent on everything else.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's... Huh. So apparently the reason why they're absolutely hell-bent on it is apparently the reception of Wonder Woman over on HBO Max could be fresh in their decision makers' minds. So apparently that didn't go down too well, and they're sort of thinking that maybe...
I think that's partly down to the fact that Wonder Woman's not a good movie.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
Wonder Woman 2, that is, 1984.
Yeah, that's it. I mean...
Isn't a good movie, unfortunately. But given Marvel's track record with all the MCU movies, Black Widow should be a pretty good movie.
Yeah. It's been a massive game, musical chairs for most theatre releases, blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
I mean, they're just basically saying it's really difficult to kind of predict anything or kind of plan for anything because who knows what's going to happen. About Black Widow's chances of releasing in theaters rather than Disney Plus. A year delay. So they do want to release in the cinema, and then they eventually want to release on Disney Plus. But they do want it to be in the movies first.
Because Disney Plus is essentially becoming should in theory become the platform that would be like when movies come out on DVD and Blu-ray.
Yeah. So
you see it in the cinema,
and then
2-3 months down the road, it comes out on Disney Plus.
All right, well there we go. So I mean, I can't say I was particularly all that, I'm not really bothered about these sorts of things, but yeah.
Yeah, I know you're not, because you're not a
superhero person.
Yeah, superhero, MCU, Marvel, Disney,
yeah,
all that stuff.
Yeah. Although I do like The Mandalorian, I thought that was quite good.
Yeah, that's Star Wars, though.
Yeah, I know. All right, well, so that's our first bit of news. Our second one for this evening. Russia starts banning Death Notes. So, yeah, there's the... So apparently Russia doesn't like anime, or at least the Russian government, or the powers that be. Somebody in Russia doesn't like animes.
It's a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, it is. It says, this Wednesday, St. Petersburg court banned the Death Note, Tokyo Ghoul, and a few other animes after concerns that teenagers could mimic on-screen violence. You see, it always goes back to this again. It's all this like violence in movies and games is responsible for the downfall of society, but I don't think it is. I think most people can differentiate between real life and an anime. I don't understand why it So according to the trial, the prosecution screened episodes of the to underscore its argument, the district court stated every episode contains cruelty, murder, and violence. In mid-December, 5 lawsuits were filed against 49 Russian sites distributing anime. Site prosecutors also called for the court to ban other shows, including Elfen Lied, never heard of that, Naruto, and...
Seriously, banning Naruto. I mean, that's one of the most popular animes out there.
Right? I mean, it's not even... So according to the website, Medusa, expert from St. Petersburg Academy, postgraduate in pedagogical, let's go with that. Wow. Education said Death Note was potentially dangerous for a modern child.
Thing is, I don't think Death Note is meant for children.
No, it's not. It's clearly not.
It's young adults.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't think... I mean... So what are
Same
they going to...
Tokyo Ghoul, for that matter.
Well, yeah, I mean, surely it's got like some sort of an age rating on there.
I believe they do.
So what's the problem then? I don't see what the issue is.
See, when they talk about these Russian sites that have been streamed, and I wonder whether they're legit Russian sites.
Yeah, well, I mean, so they're thinking that kids are watching these and they shouldn't be. I mean, you're never going to stop that. But then that's true of anything, with movies. Well, yeah, exactly. So why pick on anime specifically?
Certain anime, yes, is very violent.
I mean, there's lots of really violent anime. It's literally as long as my arm. But, yep. I mean, there's also a lot of really violent movies and other things as well. You could, like... Yeah, all right, whatever. TV
shows, computer games, even books.
Yeah, exactly. It just seems really... Yeah.
Hell, are they gonna ban their people from reading War and Peace?
I don't know. I just think it's kind of like the
Russian book.
Well, who knows? Anyway, so we've got a bit of tech news up next. LG, moving on.
Yes.
LG may be leaving the smartphone business in 2021, which is kind of surprising because I thought they did quite well, didn't they? In that sort of...
No, unfortunately, LG have been struggling for quite a few years because they just can't compete with the likes of Samsung, Apple, Google, OnePlus, all the other cheap Chinese brands, Xiaomi and things like that.
So they've basically lost a lot of ground then in the marketplace.
And they just don't seem to be able to
innovate.
Well, I want to say innovate because they do bring out some really weird designs, like last year's. I can't
the flippy one, wasn't it?
The sort of T-shaped.
Yeah. It seems like they were getting desperate there, wasn't it? It's like, quick, we have to have a distinguishing USP, don't they call it? Unique selling point. We'll have a rotating screen.
It was a very interesting idea, and it actually, the way that it was implemented was actually quite good. But
I can only think
niche.
I have thought about that, and I can only think of one use case for that phone. Only one. Drone operators.
No, it was good for videos, camera, taking photos. Also fairly good for watching things as well, because you've got the screen at the top that's around one way, and then you've got this little screen at the bottom, so you can hold it and watch stuff at the top, and then you can do
whatever,
emails and what for surfing the net on bottom.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate considering the last week was CES, and one of the devices that they previewed was a phone with a rolling screen, so it would unscroll.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah. Now that's That's a really interesting idea and
But
concept.
a scroll though is weird
but
though. I mean,
it's innovative as well. Yeah. If they leave the mobile phone market, what's going to happen with that? They're just going to sell it to another company.
well, the thing is, they don't. Yeah, somebody will get hold of it. So I mean, once the idea is out there, and if people can make money from it, they'll find a way of doing it.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, they're denying it, but apparently some more recent evidence has kind of come to light that suggests that might actually be the case after all. Yesterday, a plethora of Korean outlets reported that LG is mulling leaving the smartphone business and is considering restructuring its business by withdrawing only its premium smartphone line. LG is considering selling off its smartphone business completely. Okay. So yeah, apparently the CEO Kwon Bong Seok sent out a memo internally hinting that major change may be coming to the smartphone business. I mean, the article does go on and on, but I think that's basically the long and short of it.
I mean, people could be reading into that too much. It could just be that they're changing what the sort of smartphones they're developing.
Well, they're saying
this
here,
whole
yeah.
folding, well, not folding, but scrolling screen.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll just put all their efforts into that, and they won't produce any other phones for a while.
Mind you, there are enough people in the smartphone business anyway, so I just think phones in general, and I know it's a kind of boring topic, and I don't really want to, but it is boring because phones are boring these days. They're not as exciting as they used to be. Is it?
Yeah, last week,
like,
Samsung obviously launched the new Galaxy S21 range.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, "Oh yeah, this is changing everything." And I was looking at them going,
"How?"
So it's just another smartphone. Yes, it's got better cameras. It's got better.
It doesn't change everything, though, does it?
Battery, better CPU, better memory, better screen. It's like, okay, but what is actually innovative there?
Exactly. It's all, they're all pretty much the same. I mean, it's not like the 15 years ago when smartphones had, we're all different. They're all weird, they're all flippy, foldy, slidey, things with, and they're all a bit different, and plus that was like the, it was kind of a new thing, wasn't it, actually? So everyone was super excited about it. But now phones are just basically utilities that nobody really cares about.
So like, oh look, there's a rectangle that's basically a screen.
Yeah. So I don't know. I do think that, I don't know.
Yeah, the only phones that really interest me are the folding ones at the moment, other than the concept LG.
Yeah, but it's going to be a while before they're affordable, I think. I mean, they're going to be expensive for quite a while.
Because that is actually innovation.
Yeah.
Making a screen that folds and being able to use it as a tablet or just a smaller phone that fits in your pocket easier.
Anyway, so moving on. Glastonbury Festival has been cancelled. It looks like this is for the second year running.
Yep.
Again, it always goes back to the COVID-19 situation, which I don't particularly blame them for because everything's kind of up in the air this year.
Well, exactly. It's especially as it sounds as if the government's not quite sure when they're going to ease
stuff, if it,
anything. And I think a gathering as large as Glastonbury, a festival that size, it's just not a good idea.
Probably not. I mean, considering the sort of people that are going to the festival aren't probably going to be the people that will receive the injections first. Because the injections seem to be...
That's true.
Yeah, it seem to be going to the older people and more vulnerable people. The sort of people that are attending Glastonbury are teenagers or people in their 20s and 30s.
Well, I don't know. There are people in their 50s.
I'm talking about the majority of people in the crowd.
Yeah.
It's going to be a younger crowd, and they're less likely to have been given their injections, basically, at that point. Yeah. So I think that was probably it. So yeah, the announcement basically goes on to say, with great regret, we must announce that this year's Glastonbury Festival will not take place, and that this will be another enforced fallow year for us. The organizer said, in spite of our efforts to move heaven and earth, it has become clear that we simply cannot make the festival happen this year. We're sorry to let you all down.
I think it's fair. It's fair.
Yeah, I mean,
It's fair. I mean,
and basically anybody that bought tickets for the event, it's going to be rolled over to next year. So you'll still have tickets, but it'll be for next year's event, hopefully. Yeah, so this has been 2 years running now.
So that means that there won't be any tickets to actually buy for Glastonbury until 2023?
Yeah. It is just a bit, yeah. I mean, I'm sure this isn't the only thing that's going to be cancelled this year, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
I'm sure we're going to get quite a few of these.
I think that a lot of people were hoping that things were going to possibly get fairly normal by the summer.
Yeah. I mean, all I'm hoping for next year is that we manage to get away around September. I'm hoping we would have maybe gotten our injections by then, and we might be able to maybe go on holiday somewhere for a week. That's really all I'm hoping for next year.
Well, that's what they're saying, isn't it?
Yeah.
September-ish
time, yeah.
Or autumn. Yeah.
We'll see, I guess. Anyway, so what else is going on? Oh yeah, the SpaceX.
Yes.
So this is quite interesting. This was actually uncovered by Stephen earlier on. SpaceX acquires former oil rigs to serve as floating Starship spaceports. And I was sort of thinking to myself, surely that's just hugely impractical. Because how are they going to get all the stuff out there to assemble the ships on the rigs? Because, I mean, how are they going to transport the thing onto there so they can, take off from the platforms? Unless they build them on there. But then I realized, I was thinking about it, and said, these things move, don't they?
The platforms?
Yeah, they can move.
Yeah, I think they can.
So they're probably just going to get tugged around. Or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons that they're doing it is so that... Because the launches, if they're going to... Well, they're hoping the launches are going to be on a very regular basis. So if they can go out into the sea where there's nobody around at all, those launches aren't going to interrupt anyone. Because you think
interrupt people?
Hmm?
Interrupt people? How? How's it interrupt? Don't they
noise?
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought they did this stuff in the middle of a desert somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
No.
What happens if it's a... Yeah, okay.
I mean, you think, like, Cape Canaveral isn't...
No.
In the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, the article does read SpaceX has acquired 2 former oil drilling rigs to serve as these floating spaceports. They've named them Phobos and Deimos, the Greek gods. Why do they always go for, like, Greek gods and things like that? Like,
It's also the moons of Mars.
yeah, but they're named after Greek gods. It's... anyway, so... Yeah. It does say. And currently undergoing modification to support Starship launch operations. I mean, it's a good use for them, I suppose, if they can't be used for drilling. Which has got to be a step in the right direction. SpaceX has long been hinting at future floating launch and landing sites for their spaceship launch system. The Super Heavy Lift launch vehicle will have a large blast danger area and pose noise concerns if launched frequently near populated areas. That goes on to what you were saying. Yeah. Therefore, sea launch platforms will play a key role in launch cadence. SpaceX plans to reach with Starship. What?
Yes, Starship 1, isn't it, or something like that?
Including on-orbit refueling flights for deep space missions and transportation from one place to another on Earth.
Ooh, now that's... Interesting. Because if you go into low orbit, you can use the Earth's rotation to actually get somewhere quicker.
Yeah, maybe.
Is that what they're implying there?
I'm not sure. Jobs posting, blah, 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 position. So they're looking for people to operate these things now. So if you fancy operating a mobile space launch platform, this could be your opportunity. Although you won't be able to do that because I think SpaceX only employ American citizens.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's a security thing. The Americans will not hire any non-Americans to work in SpaceX or NASA or anything else like that. It's a thing.
Wait, I'm sure there's been foreign scientists work for NASA.
Yeah, I think not with SpaceX. There was actually a thing about it. I did read about it somewhere. Yeah. Oh, well, so there we go.
Yeah, I wonder how quickly they'll get them all set up. It's nice that they're recycling the rigs as well.
Yeah, I suppose. All right, well, what else we got going on then? Ooh, okay. Some Valve news up next, I think. So this is a little bit of gaming-related news we got here. So the EU... So for those of you that may not be aware of what... cookies. So for our listeners for Force FM, or maybe people that aren't such avid gamers, there's a big company, games development company, called Valve, and they sort of a few years ago, I think like, 15 years ago now, they launched an online marketplace called Steam, and it's hugely popular and everybody uses it, and it's the place you go to buy games. I mean, there are other stores as well, but they've been around the longest.
Yeah, which is why they have a sort of rabid fan base.
Yeah. So the EU has actually hit Valve and 5 others with €7.5 million fines.
Yeah, this is based on their distribution.
Yeah. Basically, the long and the short of it is that not all games are charged the same price in certain regions.
Of the EU, though.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, and the world, but this mostly comes
like
down
somebody
to
in somebody in Germany would pay more for the same game than somebody in Poland.
Yeah.
So that's basically it. So they're just saying, well, everyone should pay the amount that people in Poland pay, rather than just adjusting the prices depending on their region,
Yeah, when it's a single currency.
Yeah, exactly. So that's basically the long and the short of it. But the article does go on to say, US distributor Valve Corp, owner of the world's largest video games distribution platform, Steam, and 5 other games publishers, received €7.8 million in antitrust fines from the EU on Wednesday for blocking cross-border sales in Europe. So basically, if you live in Poland, you can only buy games specifically for Poland, and so on and so forth, and they're all, the prices that they pay for these games will vary from country to country. The penalty followed a 4-year investigation as part of European Commission's crackdown on cross-border curbs on online trade. Valve did not admit wrongdoing and was fined €1.66 million. Fines for the 5 video games publishers, Bandai, Namco, Capcom, Focus Home, Koch Media, and ZeniMax were reduced by 10 to 15% after they admitted the wrongdoing. So they admitted that they've done bad. And they had
Valve were the only ones that didn't admit it, and they wouldn't reduce.
Well, the Commission, the EU executive said the company's practices prevented European consumers from shopping around in a European market worth more than €17 billion. Today, sanctions against the geo-blocking practices of Valve and 5 PC video game publishers serve as a reminder that under EU competition law, companies are prohibited from contractually restricting cross-border sales. EU Competition Commissioner Margrethe Vestager said in this...
Vestager, I guess.
Vestager, yeah. The EU competition enforcement said Valve and each publisher bilaterally agreed to geo-block certain PC video games from outside a specific territory affecting some 100 video games. So there we go.
But then, with anything, there's ways around it.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of us listening to this or watching the show will probably know about stuff like that. But still, it does make sense.
Yeah.
In a way. So I totally get it. But the thing is, companies are always going to find ways to get sweet, sweet money, aren't they? They're always going to, if it's not this, it'll be something else. And then they'll start all having their own, I don't know, they'll find a way around it. They'll find some legal loophole, and it's always the way these companies work.
Or they won't. I mean, for some of these companies, it doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah, I know. But still. I mean, it's... Yeah. So, what else we got? A bit of tech news up next. Apple is reportedly making a VR headset Fuel actually buy. It'll probably be very expensive. Well.
Is that what they're meaning? That few will actually buy it because it's going to be
super expensive and
the price of a new car.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, I mean, basically, it's an open secret that Apple's working on some sort of augmented reality or virtual reality headset. Some have been so bold as to predict slick Steve Jobs style smart glasses as soon as summer 2021. I doubt that.
Nah.
I really do doubt that.
Not that quickly.
No. But now Bloomberg is reporting that before we get smart glasses, Apple is attempting a niche VR headset that will likely cost a metric. I can't. Yeah.
Metric ton.
Yeah. The news comes via Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, an Apple prognosticator with a reliable track record citing unnamed sources. Gurman contends that the headset has confronted several development hurdles and a more ambitious AR device will take a while to develop due to technological and logistical challenges. The initial headset will likely be mostly viral gadget, as with
virtual, not viral, virtual.
Mostly virtual gadget. How does that make sense? I mean, it's going to be physical.
Yeah, what does that mean?
It doesn't. I mean, that's okay. In my mind, that doesn't make sense. But whatever. Let's move on. With an all-encompassing 3D digital environment meant for games, videos, and chats, it's meant to compete against Oculus, PlayStation VR, HTC Vive, and AR capabilities. However, it will be limited. How? So yeah, basically they're doing that. I mean, the thing is, Apple have enough money that they can quite happily just throw a lot of money at this and just go meh. And whether it makes money or not, it's not like the end of the world to them. Because they already have all the money in the world.
Developing.
Yeah, I mean, they already have all the money in the world anyway.
Yeah, and there's rumors that they're developing a folding phone of some sort.
Right. Okay. Didn't somebody say that Apple never really sort of innovate? They just take what is already there and then they improve on it. That's basically what they've done recently.
Refine.
Yeah, refine it and improve on it.
I wouldn't necessarily say improve, refine.
But that really strikes me as being quite interesting because, I mean, Apple aren't really known as being a gaming platform. And VR is mostly a gaming thing.
Yep.
So why would they want to have a product like that? It doesn't make much sense. I mean, I get because Apple is always known as the creator's platform, isn't it? So, for all the drawing and digital, art and photography and stuff like that. That's what Apple is known for.
Which a VR...
But VR headset? I don't see
why...
A
VR headset would be good for design work.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I was trying to get at. That's the only thing I can think of that they could possibly use it for. I don't see any other any other reason why they'd want to do that. I mean, I'm sure these things would be cross-compatible with other platforms or whatever, but I mean, most people that would spend that sort of money on an Apple thing would probably be Apple people.
Yeah.
So they're less likely to have other things to plug the thing into. So, yeah, not too sure. I mean, they'll probably have some sort of AR, sort of for design stuff. I think that's going to be their take on it. It's going to be, rather than full virtual reality, it's going to be augmented reality, which sort of transposes an image over, you know.
Yeah, exactly. It's only going to be for the Apple
people.
Yeah, I don't want to say fanboys because that's just bandied around all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, Apple people.
Apple.
Because let's face it, Facebook have basically cornered the market for affordable headsets with the Oculus Quest 2.
Mm-hmm.
The HTC headsets, you know, the Vive, just isn't going to go anywhere because it's far too expensive.
That's why I quite like my Quest 2.
PlayStation VR, I think that's hit a bit of a wall, and apparently they are developing a VR 2, but that's not going to be out for at least 2 years from the sounds of it. So,
plus I just don't think the games are there yet. There's like a handful of games. There's stuff being developed by people all the time. Like I've noticed with VR, you get a lot of people that are sort of modding older games to work with VR. But it seems like sort of developers and stuff are still shying away from it. They still think it's a niche thing. But I guess I think that's why the Quest 2 is such an important product, because it makes what was once a very expensive, very niche thing into something more attainable for most people. Like this, I think the VR headset that we got for Christmas here was $399, which, while expensive, is cheap for a VR headset.
You got the Quest 2.
Yeah.
Which starts at $299 for the
we got the more expensive
one.
We got the more expensive one.
So yeah, $399 I think it is, which is still, you know,
cheap.
It's fairly good price.
Which is what I'm saying. You know, for a VR headset, it's one of the cheapest ones out there. And you know, I think these things now that the price is coming down means there'll probably be more adoption, which means there'll be more incentive for people to develop games for it. And I think that's going to help make VR a more viable thing that people develop for. And I think that's a good thing, which is why I was saying that I think the Quest 2 is probably the most important VR headset to come out ever.
Yes.
Simply because of the price point.
Yeah, it's funny because you'd think that the PlayStation VR would probably be the most important, given the fact that it's designed for a gaming platform.
Actually, that's the point. Do you need to play specific games on the PlayStation that supports the VR headset, or does it sort of... Yeah, I would have thought.
Yeah, it would be VR supported games.
Yeah, and there's probably not all that many
individual bits and pieces. You know, like the camera and the what do they call them? PlayStation Ones. I think they're Ones or Move or something. Yeah, you have to buy them separately, unless you buy the pack.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, obviously, the Vive, the Oculus Quest 2, you can plug it into your PC, or you can use it without a PC entirely.
Yeah, it's a little standalone Android thing. Yeah, I do quite like that. I think that's quite good. I mean, I have been using it quite a lot in bed, just watching Netflix and stuff, because it's like sitting in your own cinema. It's great. You know, just before you go to sleep, just go bloop, and just sort of lie in bed and just kind of watch like big screen Netflix or whatever. I mean, I am looking forward to using it on the plane. I think that's going to be great. I'm looking forward to that, if that ever happens this year.
It's almost like with that sort of thing, it'll become almost like Walkman was back in the 80s. It's like you can go everywhere with your Walkman. You'll go everywhere with your VR headset. Yeah,
I see it. You know, it's really good because I do suffer from claustrophobia. That is one of the things I've always, especially on a plane, I really struggle with that, especially being cooped up in such a small space for such a long time. I think VR headsets are great because you can kind of get lost in your own little world, literally. And it kind of takes your mind off of things, which I think will help a lot of people that suffer from claustrophobia or anxiety or things like that, which would be good.
Yeah.
So Disney are at it again.
Are they?
In other news, yeah.
Which thing
The
are
Baby
they at
Yoda.
this time?
The Baby Yoda.
Ah,
So there's
the,
This thing is pretty much everyone knows Baby Yoda. It's not even Baby Yoda. His name's
it's
Grogu or whatever.
Grogu.
Grogu, thank you.
Grogu.
Why are they still calling it Baby Yoda? Anyway, so unless this is actually meant to be a Baby Yoda.
It looks like Grogu.
Oh yeah. So, basically, like a few years ago, I think most people might remember this. Like the toys that were the sort of little remote control Sphero.
The BB-8.
Yeah, the BB-8 and the little robots from Star Wars.
Yeah, R2. and
D2,
BB-8,
yeah. They were quite big like a couple of years ago. I still think they're not such a big deal this year, or at least the last couple of years, but I do remember them being a thing.
Well, it's because they were kind of rubbish.
Meow.
They were very expensive and kind of rubbish.
Which is kind of sad, because I was looking at these things and I just thought, I mean, while they, the idea is you're supposed to use your phone and, do whatever, but I'd really like these things to sort of, they don't actually have to be autonomous, but as long as they can kind of pretend that they are and be convincing enough, that's all I need. Like if you had this little thing that could sit on your desk or whatever and just kind of beep or look around or just walk around on its own volition, just something that
and be like a cat and randomly push things off the desk and
just
walk
something
all over your keyboard and stuff.
just something that could just pretend to be autonomous, that would be cool, and that was always the thing for me. It's like it was kind of a cool little gimmick for 5 minutes, but you soon realized that if you didn't use the phone app, it didn't really do anything. It just kind of sat there looking at you, and they kind of missed a trick there. Because I think there's a really big market for adults that just want something silly for their office desk.
Yeah.
Just a little Star Wars robot that just sits there and beeps at you once in a while, or notifies you if you got like a notification on your phone or something. Things like that, they could do all sorts of things with it if they just had some imagination, but they don't, and that's such a shame, because that's a real thing. I mean, if you had this little thing that's on your desk and notified you if you had notifications on your phone or alarms or weather alerts or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or just, occasionally just kind of got up and just kind of roamed around your desk a while and just pushed a pen off the desk and, whatever.
It tells you to stop staring at the screen.
Things like that, but they didn't. So they've released this little robot Baby Yoda Grogu thing that'll apparently follow you around.
With some dodgy thing that you strap to your wrist with massive buttons.
It does look a bit dumb.
Looks very clunky. I mean, the animatronic Baby Grogu does actually look pretty good.
Yeah,
the ears moving and the arms moving and it just moving along on the floor.
Yeah. But if you got this thing
I imagine it's not going to work very well on carpet because they're demonstrating it on wood flooring, so...
I still don't even really like it. I mean, I wouldn't buy that. I'd much prefer a droid to Grogu, personally. I don't know. I mean, the article does go on to say the extreme level of secrecy behind the big reveal in the first season of Star Wars The Mandalorian melted the public's immediate thirst for Baby Yoda merchandise went through the roof. And so they're kind of capitalizing in on that now, and they're releasing all these Baby Yoda things. I'm just going to call them Grogu, because that's his name. So Disney's not going to make the same mistake with this season. Mattel has just revealed the remote control version of the child can adorably waddle around your home. Available this autumn for $70, which would be, £60. Star Wars Mandalorian, the Child Real Moves Plush. Is that what they're calling it? What a stupid name. Real Moves Plus.
And why are they calling it the child? It's Grogu.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone knows it's Grogu now.
At this point, yeah. So apparently the thing stands 11 inches tall, so slightly smaller than the animatronic figure used in the series itself. Mattel has still managed to stuff it full of electronics, including authentic sound effects and motors to bring it to life. Grogu's head can turn from side to side and look up and down, and its giant ears wiggle around. Mechanisms are hidden under flexible outer skin, which makes sense when you say it, but out of context feels like a horrifying thing to say about what?
Baby.
Anyway, so animatronics aren't just restricted to Baby Yoda's head, though. His arms move up and down. He attempts to use the Force and reach out for the control knob to use as a play toy.
Oh, like on in.
Yeah. It's far from the first animatronic Baby Yoda toy, Grogu. We've seen Hasbro beat everyone to the punch back in 2020. But what sets Mattel's creation apart is that it doesn't need your help to get around your home.
Ah.
So we'll try and do stuff, which is a little
Navigate.
bit...
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
pretty
kind of
good.
a step in the right direction, but still, I don't see
I'm
that
not sure
being...
about the wireless remote.
No, it does look really dumb. It looks like something somebody would 3D print with a bit of sort of Play-Doh on it.
Yeah. I mean, it does kind of look a little bit authentic to Star Warsy.
Yeah, but not really. I mean, it does look cheap.
That does, yeah.
It looks very,
I
very
mean,
cheap.
the actual whole thing, $70,
Mm-hmm.
isn't that bad. When you think the BB-8 Sphero thing was, what, 100 and... It was about 130, wasn't it, when it came out?
It wasn't cheap, no. It was expensive.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And now you see them all over the place for about 50 quid.
You see, I still think that's too much because it's kind of limited. Because it doesn't, Honestly, if anyone's listening, not that they will be, but if anyone's listening from any of these companies that make these things, honestly, just make a little desk toy for adults. Honestly, sell like hotcakes. Pair it with your phone. Beep whenever you get an email or whatever.
Yeah, build in some smart features.
Mm-hmm. Like maybe if it notices it's you, it'll unlock the computer.
Yeah, build it into like Windows Hello.
Yeah. So whenever you plonk it on your desk and you sit down and you look at it, it goes beep, 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 and then it locks you in.
Yeah, face unlock.
It doesn't... all these things, they're not hard. You just have to have a bit of creativity, but people don't have creativity these days. That's the trouble. Anyway, so our movie of the week. I'll let you talk about this one because Hotel Artemis. And like I said right at the beginning of the show, I kind of thought it was a bit of a budget John Wick. So John Wick was basically... you'll be able to see what the parallels are, but just to remind you, John Wick was basically an assassin.
Yep.
Who occasionally stayed at this hotel, which was kind of a neutral ground for assassins that could just socialize and talk and organize themselves.
Yep.
You couldn't kill other assassins when you were on site. You couldn't do anything. There were lots of rules you had to follow. It was kind of its own little world in its own
safe
bubble.
house.
Yeah. And I saw a lot of that in this movie.
Apart from the fact that it's not technically a hotel.
Well, it sort of is. It was a hotel.
Not really, because you're only supposed to go there when you're injured.
Yeah, but it was originally physically a hotel.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
a hotel
it may have
room.
been originally, yeah.
Yeah, and all the suite names and stuff. So it is still technically a hotel. It's just been reused as a hospital.
Yeah, it's being utilized as essentially a hospital that's being run by this. Well, two people basically.
Yeah, so basically the world's basically collapsed into I don't know, it's some sort of civil war from what I could work out. There's basically social anarchy in the streets. Society's basically collapsed.
It's set in 2028,
and everything is it's all organized and run by criminal organizations, and one of the biggest criminals is a guy that calls himself the Wolf or something. I can't remember what he calls himself. The lone wolf, the big wolf, the
Wolf King.
Wolf King, there we go, that's the one. And he is one of the biggest, he's like the big boss of this criminal organization. And he funded this hospital that he set up in this old hotel called Hotel Artemis. And The idea being that anyone that worked for him or anyone that worked in the criminal world, as long as they paid their fees, they could come here and get treatment.
Yeah.
Free of,
they have to
the
like
police and
membership.
everything else. Yeah, they have to have membership. And that kind of reminded me of John Wick a lot,
Yeah, other than the fact that this is more if you need medical assistance rather than just somewhere to kip.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, it's run by 2 people, which seems a bit strange.
Yeah, I thought this. Well, surely if you're having to perform major surgery on a
You
person,
need more than
you're going to need a little bit more help than.
Exactly. I mean,
you
then
to the nurse.
there's some woman who failed her medical degree or whatever, or dropped out of.
No, she basically hit the bottle after her son.
Died. Yeah,
Died.
she lost her medical license,
Yeah,
and so you'd think somebody that was as well funded as the Wolf King or whatever would be able to at least get some decent people to run the place, but she got this alcoholic, nervous woman to.
Well,
it's just really strange
I think
to me.
It's because it's an underground facility, isn't it?
But still, in a world like that, where everything's falling to bits, I'm sure they could find more staff.
But there's a reason why he chose her.
Yeah, because he liked her. And
No.
because he also felt an obligation or something to help her.
Yes, which we can't give. If you want to watch it, we can't give that away.
So basically, it follows the story of these 2 people working in this medical facility, and some people walk into it, and you get all these assassins that came in and robbers and stuff, and some stuff goes down, basically. Obviously when the Wolf King arrives at one point in the movie, he's the main target for an assassin who arrives to try and kill him, and some stuff just goes down, basically. So it's basically an action movie.
Yeah, in places. I mean, there is a lot of talking around the action.
Yeah.
The action tends to be... Most of the action's towards the end of the movie, actually.
Yeah. It's all this, build up until right at the end.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there's a few different characters that sort of will come in and out of the movie, and, yeah. It was really weird at the end, though. She just sort of...
wandered off.
Yeah. It's a bit...
towards the crowds, I think.
Yeah. Because things don't work out. Things end up, obviously, quite literally blowing up. And, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about the ending. I
thought it was a bit anticlimactic, I mean, I guess it kind of sits. It kind of fits well with the world. The fact that everything is basically just anarchy and social collapse and everything else.
Yeah,
so
yeah. I mean, watching it, I was reminded of watching, the news a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I didn't mind it so much. I didn't mind the movie too much. I thought it was alright. I mean, it was watchable. I didn't particularly care about any of the characters particularly. But I thought the acting was okay, actually. I didn't mind it. I mean, there were some pretty good actors in there, and I actually recognized one of the guys being the Wolf King's son. I remember him from... Didn't he play Spock from Star Trek?
The Wolf King.
Yeah, I recognize him as well, obviously. But he played Spock from Star Trek. What's his name?
Zachary Quinto.
Thank you. So there were some pretty
and you
well-known...
didn't recognize the nurse?
Oh, no, I didn't. Who was she again?
Jodie Foster.
Oh, yeah, okay. Fine.
And obviously, the Wolf King was Jeff Goldblum.
Yep. So there were, a lot of pretty high-profile actors and actresses in there.
The guy that was helping Jodie Foster's character is Dave Bautista.
He was in Galaxy. What was his name?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, he played the angry guy. Thank
Drax.
You. Yeah. So there were a lot of actors in there I did actually recognize from things. But yeah, so it seemed like it was a pretty high-budget movie.
Yeah, and so Sophia Botella, I recognised her, but I can't remember what I've seen her in.
Yeah.
I know I've seen her in other things, and I know that she's played similar characters.
Yeah.
That was the character Nice, the assassin.
Well, there we go.
Them I didn't recognise.
No, there was there were a lot of people I didn't recognize, but there were some pretty high-profile actors and actresses in there. It was pretty. It was alright. It was an okay movie. I didn't mind it. I watched it through to the end. I didn't feel annoyed. Did I say I enjoyed it? I wouldn't. I mean, I watched it enough to I liked it enough for what it was to say it's a good movie, I suppose. I mean, the story isn't particularly all that interesting. It's a bit anticlimactic towards the end. It's all a bit... It seems to build up and build up and build up, and then... But... I mean, it's okay, I suppose. It's alright. There's some good acting in there.
Yeah.
I'm not really a movie critic, which is the ultimate irony. I don't know. What were your opinions? Do you have any opinions on that? Or
I enjoyed it for the few hours that I watched it for. Well, hour and 40 minutes ish.
It was a long movie, actually. It did feel long.
Hour 34 minutes. Yeah, it was good. It was an enjoyable enough movie to fill an hour and a half ish.
Yeah. All right, well, I think that's it then for this evening. I think we are pretty much out of time. All the stuff to be said is thank you very much for listening / watching, if you're watching on YouTube. Don't forget we have recently restarted our YouTube page, so if you use it, then head over to youtube.com/Flying Llama Studios. Our Twitch page is twitch.tv/FLSUK. Our Facebook page, Flying Llama Studios. And if you'd like to have a look at some other stuff that we do, then head over to our website, flyinglamastudios.net. Don't forget you can always email us as well if you still use email. Not that anyone really uses email these days anymore, apart from if you're working. flyinglamastudios@gmail.com is the email address if you'd like to get in touch with us. So all that's left to be said is thank you very much indeed for listening / watching. Take care of yourselves. We'll be back Tuesday, actually, with another Free to Fail. The game we were going to play ended up not really working, literally. So we're gonna have to pick something else. So that'll be interesting. So from the both of us, stay safe, stay sane, have a great weekend, at least as much as you can. And guess we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
This is a Flying Llama Studios production. Visit flyinglamastudios.net for more information.